Let's talk about the story of Genspark AI. It's this incredible, almost paradoxical story of the AI gold rush we're in right now. It's about how absolute genius and record-breaking speed can actually lead you straight to a potentially catastrophic flaw. Honestly, this isn't just about one company. It's a huge warning sign for the entire industry. So, let's just dive right in.
Okay, I want to start with a number that should absolutely stop you in your tracks. $36 million. That's Genspark's annual recurring revenue, their AR. Basically, it's the predictable cash they pull in from subscriptions every year. Now, that's a huge number for any startup, but believe it or not, that's not even the craziest part of the story.
Now, the truly mind-bending part is how fast they did it. They hit that $36 million ARR in just 45 days. Let me say that again, 45 days. To put that into perspective, that kind of speed is, well, it's almost unheard of in the entire history of software. It's just wild.
So how on earth did they do it? Well, they got 2 million users in that exact same 45-day window. This wasn't just typical growth. This was a full-on market explosion, and it was pretty much all driven by word of mouth. People were just telling everyone they knew about it. All right, so let's get into our first section here and really look under the hood of this AI rocket ship. We're going to deconstruct this insane hypergrowth and the massive valuation that came right along with it. And wow, what a valuation it was. After their first big funding round, their Series A back in February 2025, Genspark was valued at a staggering $530 million. It's so clear that investors weren't just betting on a cool product, they were betting on its unprecedented, unbelievable speed. Now, a huge part of this story is the team. You've got Eric Jing, a total veteran from search giants like Baidu and Microsoft. He knew exactly what was broken with old-school search. And then you pair him with Wen Sang, a two-time founder, a Y Combinator alum, who is an absolute master at scaling companies at lightning speed. It's just the perfect combo, right? One guy to build the revolutionary tech, and the other to launch it straight into the stratosphere.
So what is this revolutionary tech they built? Let's get into the secret engine that makes it all tick. Something they call the mixture of agents architecture.
You know, instead of using one giant do-it-all AI, Genspark's system is more like a highly skilled team of specialists. Think of it as a whole network of different AI models, each one really good at one specific thing, and they're all managed by a central orchestrator that acts like the project manager for the whole operation. And this shows you exactly how it works. So when you give it a really complex task, say, build me a website, the main orchestrator first breaks that big request down into a bunch of smaller jobs. Then, it sends each little job to the right specialist, one for writing the text, one for finding images, one for coding the layout. They all do their little subtasks, and then finally, the system pulls it all together into one seamless final product. It's brilliant. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. On the GAIA Benchmark, which is this really tough test of an AI's ability to handle complex, real-world tasks, Genspark scored an industry-leading 87.8%. This isn't just some marketing fluff, this is hard, objective proof that their whole agent architecture is one of the most capable on the entire planet.
Okay, so this incredible performance ties directly into their core business philosophy, something they call the velocity moat. And this, right here, is where their strategy gets really, really radical.
The foundational belief at Genspark, and this comes straight from co-founder Wen Sang, is that in the world of AI, all the traditional defenses, the moats, they just don't work anymore. AI models get commoditized, data becomes easy to get. So for them, the only real, sustainable advantage is to simply move faster than everybody else. Period.
So how do they possibly move that fast? Well, this is the wild part. Genspark uses its own AI agents to write a staggering 80% of its own code. Think about that. This creates what they call a self-coding velocity loop. They're not just building an AI product, they're building an AI that builds itself, letting them iterate and ship new features at a pace that human teams just can't possibly match. But, and this is a huge but, this relentless, all-out pursuit of speed, this philosophy of just moving fast and letting AI build everything, well, it comes with a really dark side, a glaring vulnerability that could threaten the entire company. It really forces us to ask a critical question, right? When your top priority, above everything else, is raw velocity, what gets left behind? What is the actual price of moving this fast? And here is the price. A security report from LayerX in September 2025 delivered a just devastating verdict.
Out of the box, the Genspark AI browser had a web attack defense rate of just 7%. For comparison, Google Chrome is at 47%. This isn't a small gap, folks. It's a security chasm, a massive red flag.
And to make it even more real, the analysis found that the browser let over 90% of compromised, malicious web pages just run. This is the direct consequence of that velocity-first strategy. All their engineering resources were poured into features and performance, and in the process, they built up this massive, dangerous security debt.
So this puts the company in an incredibly difficult position, something we can call the dual mandate. They now have to figure out how to navigate this huge conflict between innovating and, well, fixing the very foundation they built their rocket ship on.
And you'd better believe the competition is not just sitting around waiting. This chart lays it out perfectly. While Genspark's big advantage is speed, you have rivals like DeepAgent who are focusing specifically on security and compliance to win over that really high-value enterprise market. You know, the market that would never, ever accept a 7% defense rate. DeepAgent is basically weaponizing Genspark's biggest weakness against them.
So this is it. This is the central conflict for Genspark today. On one hand, they have to keep innovating at that breakneck speed to justify that $500 million valuation. But on the other hand, they have this urgent, non-negotiable need to go back and fix their security debt if they ever want to land those major enterprise clients. Both are priority number one, and they pull in completely opposite directions.
Which brings us to the final critical question. The story of Genspark really is the story of a rocket ship with melting wings. It has this incredible engine that can deliver unbelievable performance, but a frame that just might not survive the journey. So what's going to define its future? Its relentless innovation or the frantic race to finally achieve stability?